Rabotai, I want to be very open and honest. I've never given this class. Tonight's topic is a powerful one. And therefore, either tonight's class is going to be a bomb or it's going to be a bomb. One of the two. Borei Olam should be Merachem, because he knows that my heart is pure in wanting to give over this idea that came to me today when I was on the phone with my Rebbe from Eretz Yisrael, Rebbe Shalom Rabinovich, Shalita. And I'm hoping that the topic will be able to lift up people in difficult times. I want to talk tonight on the concept of how to keep it together when you feel like your world is falling apart. It's a big topic. How to keep it together when on the inside you feel like you're broken to pieces. Borei Olam, give me a help on this one. Let's talk about this concept of keeping your composure at the time of difficult moments in life. How to keep your composure in those difficult moments. So we take a look at the beginning of the parasha. Parashat Chayei Sarah. Avraham Avinu comes home from Akedat Yitzchak to a wife who's dead. Now, Rabotai, you know good and well that there's a big machloket. The 10 nisyonot, the 10 tests that Avraham Avinu went through in life, there's a big machloket, which one was number 10? We know that the tests, each test was more difficult than the one before. That means that test number 10 was the most difficult test that Avraham Avinu went through. So now, which one was number 10? So there's a big machloket. Some say that the biggest test Avraham Avinu went through, number 10, was Akedat Yitzchak. But the Ramban, many say no. Akedat Yitzchak was test number 9. Test number 10 was the death of Sarah Imenu. After an Akedah, and after he did what he did, and the unbelievable things that he passed, to come home to a wife who's dead, after all that, he can't even celebrate with her. He can't even rejoice that their son, the one that she waited 90 years for and he waited 100 years for, that they went through such a moment that their son was zochet to be an ayil, an olah. And this is going to be the zechut that's going to hold up the Jewish people for all generations until Biat HaGoel. And he can't even rejoice with her. He can't even celebrate with her. He comes home to a wife who's dead. Says Chazal that this was test number 10. This was the most difficult, even more difficult than Akedat Yitzchak. Amazing. And the truth of the matter is, if you take a look here, you'll see that the pasuk says that when he comes home, he comes to the Hesped and he buries Sarah Imenu, and Avraham Avinu cries. Amazing. Rabotai, if you think about it for a minute, the test of Lech Lecha, number 8, was a test. If Avraham Avinu was going to ask, where am I going? But did he ask? No. He followed Borei Olam without any questions. Test number 9, Akedat Yitzchak, was the test of how. You told me from Yitzchak I'm going to have a Klal Yisrael, and now you tell me to kill him? How am I going to have a Klal Yisrael? Did Avraham Avinu ask that question? No. He followed Borei Olam, and he took Yitzchak Avinu Har HaMoriah. Test number 10, he comes home to Sarah Imenu dead. That is the test of why. Did Avraham Avinu ask why? No. He accepted the fact that Sarah passed away, he could not rejoice with her, and he goes and simply buries Sarah Imenu. The last three tests, the test of where, the test of how, and the test of why. And Avraham Avinu does not question Hashem, not one moment. He follows Borei Olam, he does what he told him, and when he comes back, he accepts the tragedy of losing his wife. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What a test. And that's why Chazal tell us that when you take a look at the Pasuk, Vatamot Sarah bekiryat arba hi Chevron be'eretz Canaan, vayavo Abraham lispod lisara velivko ta. He comes now to make a hesped by the funeral of Sarah and to cry for Sarah Imenu. And the word velivko ta in the Pasuk has a small little chaf. Says Chazal, you know why the chaf is small? It's to tell you that he cried only a little bit. That's what Chazal tell us. Why is that? Why did he cry just a little bit? So at first glance, it's the simple reason, Chazal tell us, as to demonstrate that he accepted. He accepted the fact that his wife passed away. V'liv kota. He didn't cry too much, because then it would look like he has ta'anot. No. No ta'anot. V'liv kota. He cried a little bit, because he has to cry. His wife passed away. But just a little bit, to show that it was mekabel, the deen. He accepted it. He didn't ask why. That's the simple pshat, the way Chazal tell us on the small chaf. But I have a question. It's a question that was bothering me. You know, Avraham Avinu, you can cry a lot and still not ask why. If the whole test was, is he going to accept what happened? If the whole test was that he's not going to come with complaints or questions to Hashem, just like by Lech Lecha he didn't question, just like Akedat Yitzchak he didn't question, so too the death of Sarah Imenu, he didn't question. You cannot question Borei Olam and still cry a lot. What does the great wise Shlomo HaMelech tell us? There's an et le'ehov, there's an et lisno, there's an et livkot. There is a time to cry. This is his wife. He was with her for 120 years. Maybe less. They got married at a certain point. But he was with her for 100 years. And after everything they went through, Avot HaKdoshim, they had Yitzchak Avinu, the Baal Akedah Yitzchak. I mean, you're burying your wife. Cry. This is a time to cry. And that doesn't take away from the nisayon that you're going through. So why is there a small chaf? Cry a lot. Just don't ask questions. Just like Lech Lecha you didn't ask, you follow. Akedah you didn't ask, you went to slaughter Yitzchak. Over here, you didn't ask. You cried. And yet, no. Abraham Avinu cried just a little bit, v'liv kota, with the small chaf, in measure. Why is that? This is something that was bothering me. Haron, do you hear the question? Does it make sense to you, the question? So Rabotai, I want to tell you tonight what I think is a very big yesod. And it's a very big madrega to one day try to reach. This is something that I think we found in Avot HaKdoshim as the mountains, the giants of Klal Yisrael. This is one of those things, one of those attributes that are wow. And I want you to open your hearts and listen to this. The last test of Abraham Avinu, the test of being able to hold your composure at a moment of tragedy. The test of being able to keep it together in spite of the fact that your insides are breaking apart. A moment that he continues to hold on to Hashem and not to let go, even though he is broken to pieces. Shh. This is big. V'liv kota, with a small chaf. Let me tell you this amazing story. I heard today from my Rebbe, Rabbi Shalom Rabinovich. He tells me over this story that, wow. There was a great rabbi. He lived about 200 years ago. His name was Rabbi Avraham Abish mi Frankfurt. He was one of the Gedolim of Europe 200 years ago. He was an Adam Gadol Me'od. Rabbi Avraham Abish mi Frankfurt. Zecher Tzadik L'Bracha. Zchuto Yagen Aleinu. Listen to this. Rabbi Avraham Abish was walking in the streets in Frankfurt. And he sees a guy who was a very wealthy man. And he sees the guy is standing at the side of the street. And he's broken. And he's crying. Mamash b'dmaot, he's crying. So Avraham Avish runs up to the wealthy man, to the rich man. He says to him, why are you crying? The rich man says, Rabbi, I had my entire fortune wrapped up in a wallet, more like a money bag. And it was a very expensive, special style money bag that had so many pockets and compartments that it was able to hold all types of denominations of money. And in each pocket, I had a different amount of denominations of money, of diamonds, of jewels. And it was in different pockets, wrapped in different ways. Literally with simanim, from all different style of denominations of money and beautiful diamonds. And I lost it. It's gone. I don't know where it went. I've been looking and looking for days. I can't find it anywhere. I looked everywhere. I retraced my steps from days beyond. I lost it. It's gone. I lost everything. I have nothing left. The guy was broken to pieces. Mamash. Rabbi Avraham Abish told him, relax. Don't worry. A little bit emunah bitachon. Hashem's going to return it to you. Tell me. I want to help you. I'm going to go out and try to help you find it. I see you're broken. What type of money bag was it? He writes it down. What were the denominations inside that money bag? So I know if I find it, I'll see the simanim. I'll know it's yours. He tells him, in this pocket there was a roll of 20s, and in this pocket there was a roll of hundreds, and in this pocket there were bills, and in that pocket there were diamonds. And he told him exactly the way every single denomination was rolled, tied, and placed. Rabbi Avraham Abish told him, relax, don't worry. I'm going to help you find it. Rabbi Avraham Abish goes out. Guys, listen, open your hearts. The tzaddikim of yesteryear. Rabbi Avraham Abish goes out and he pulls together all the wealthy men in the town of Frankfurt. And he gets everybody to donate a certain portion of what this guy once lost. And then he runs and he finds a merchant that's selling the exact duplicate same money bag. And he buys a money bag who looks exactly like the one that the guy lost. And he starts taking together all the money that he took from the wealthy people, and he ties them exactly, bidiyuk, to the detail, the way the guy described what his money bag had, and all the simanim on the inside. And he puts each one in the proper place, in the proper pocket, and then he takes the diamonds and puts them wrapped together in the pocket of diamonds, and he literally knocks it out, step by step, pocket by pocket. till he has a perfect duplicate, replica of exactly what this guy lost. And the next day he comes to the broken rich man and he says to him, "You're not going to believe it. Hakerna, recognize," right? The way Yehuda said to Yaakov Avinu, right? Hakerna, recognize. Is this it? And the guy looks at it and his eyes open up wide. And he says, I think it is. That's my money bag. He grabs the bag. He opens it up. He starts going through every single pocket to see maybe someone took something. Maybe something was missing. And he goes through pocket by pocket by pocket. He says, "Rabbi, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You found it." Rabbi Avraham Abish had mamish a smile from ear to ear. The man gives the rabbi a hug. He says, "You're a walking Kiddush Hashem. Mamish, you mehayem etimi. You brought me back to life. You gave me my life." I mean, I'm telling you what the thoughts that I was having of ending it, of checking out of life. The guy was contemplating suicide. Imagine. He said, "You gave me everything back. My life, my money, my wealth, my purpose." The next day, this wealthy man is home and he's going through his stuff. And suddenly, under a pile of clothes, he finds his lost money wallet. And he opens it up. And he looks at the money wallet that Rabbi Avraham Abish the day before gave him, found. And then he looks at the money wallet that Be'etzem was his, that was really in his house, under the mumble jumble of stuff, under a pile of clothing that he never found nor looked at. And he says, "What? What's going on?" And then it hits him. Ooh. Ooh. Rabbi Avraham Abish. That tzaddik. That tzaddik, that tzaddik, that tzaddik. What did he do here? Oh, what did he do? What did he do? This rich man goes running through the streets with the two wallets. Kefel kiflayim. With the two wallets. And he comes running up to the rabbi. And he says, "Rabbi Avraham Abish, I know what you did. I know what you did. How did you tell me you found my wallet?" Rabbi Avraham said, "I didn't tell you I found your wallet. I said, Hakerna. Recognize. Did I say I found your wallet? Never a word of sheker ever left my mouth. My whole life." That's what he told him. I never said a word of sheker my whole life. I didn't say I found your wallet. I said, Hakerna. Recognize. Does this look familiar? And you said yes. Okay. Wonderful. I took care of your problem. I never said I found your wallet. He says, "Wow. Unbelievable." He says, "Rabbi Avraham Abish, tell me, why did you do this? Why did you do this?" Says Rabbi Avraham Abish, "I'm going to tell you. Because when I was walking in the street, and I walked up to you and I saw you broken to pieces, I saw you crying, I realized that you lost a lot more than just your wallet. You lost yourself. I realized that before I try to find your wallet, before I try to return to you your wallet, there's a bigger mitzvah here. I gotta find and return to you yourself. That's a bigger loss. I had to return to you. Hashem tishivem le'achicha. Return to your brother. V'hashevoto lo. You remember that pasuk? Hashavat Avedah. But you know what the pasuk says? Return him to himself. Because he's so broken about the loss that he lost himself in the process. You lost yourself. You're an Avedah. You lost yourself. was a bigger mitzvah to return you back to yourself than to return your money wallet back to you. I first had to return you back to yourself. V'hashevoto lo. I had to return you to you. I had to make you a mensch again, a ben adam. He says, once I went out and got the duplicate wallet with all the duplicate money and brought it back to you, you know what that did for you? It brought you back to yourself. It brought you back your composure. It allowed you to come back to yourself and calm down. And now you could relax. You could breathe again. Now, once you were able to find yourself, now you were able to open your eyes. You were able to see life again. That moment you were able to see Borei Olam again. That moment you will be able to become a person again. That's the moment that you'll be able to find your wallet amongst your own things. Because if I didn't do that, even if your wallet that was lost was sitting on your dining room table right in front of your eyes, you would never have seen it because you were ois mensch. You have to hear what I'm telling you, Aaron. You're not hearing what I'm telling you. This is not stam what I'm telling you here. This is a davar gadol. Sometimes in life, people hit situations that they lose themselves. And they forgot even about the situation because they reacted so tremendously broken that they ended up losing themselves more than what's to be lost in the situation or the problem at hand. Says Rabbi Avraham Abish, I needed to first get this guy back to himself. I had to get him to find and re-find his composure. I had to get him to reopen his eyes and look at life again. I had to get him to reopen his eyes and look at Hashem again. Now that he's looking at Hashem, now he's able to reconnect to Borei Olam. Now he could start having emunah. Now he could start having bitachon. Now he can find his wallet. Because now he's reconnected. Now he's a ben adam again. He's a mensch. What does David HaMelech say? Mishemu'a ra'a lo yira. Don't lose yourself in the moment. So many times people hear something, they go nuts, they lose themselves in the moment. They say the things they shouldn't say. They react in the ways that they shouldn't react. And then later on, when they finally come back to normal, oy, do they regret it. Oy, how did I say what I said? Oy, how did I do what I did? Oh, what was I thinking? And the answer is, you weren't thinking. You checked out. There was no discipline. There was no composure. The giants, the Gedolim, they were able to somehow, even in the toughest of moments, hold their discipline and composure, and they did not let go of Shiviti Hashem L'negdi Tamid. Yes, you're right. This terrible thing is going on. And how am I going to deal with it? I don't know. But I'm holding on to Borei Olam. And therefore their reaction was measured. Therefore by them, they didn't lose sight of the moment, of the situation, and definitely not the one that can help them. Because once a person is ois mensch and goes out of their kelim, they disconnect to everything, including Hashem. And who's going to help him now? How's he going to save himself? How's he going to get out of this? How's he going to get out of the black hole? Somebody has to come and mamish, pull him out of the tachtiot, mamish, the I don't want to say what, of Gehenam. Distract yourself. Talk to yourself. Breathe. Everything's going to be okay. I have Hashem. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself, let me just get through today. Let me just get through today. It looks like my world is coming to an end. Lo aleinu v'lo aleichem. We should never know people that go through sometimes certain situations that the world looks to them black. I see sometimes people going through divorces. Sometimes people who mourn over the loss of parents, God forbid, or children, God forbid. We should never know from these things. But it looks like life went black. They don't have to deal with it. I don't know if I can ever come out of this. No. Take a breath. Don't go there. Hold your composure. Don't disconnect. You disconnect from reality, you disconnect from Borei Olam, it's going to pull you out. Great people, even in the most difficult moments, were able to hold their composure. And this is an amazing thing, that somehow or other, Rabbi Avraham Abish, who saw this wealthy man fall to pieces, and realized on the guy where he's going to nowhere good. This guy was falling into Shol Tachti. The guy said, I was ready to commit suicide. I was ready to check out of life. He did something brilliant. He came up with this ruse to just snap him out of it, even for a minute. Even for a minute. He brought him back for a minute. He gave him a moment of consolement. A moment. That's all it takes to snap the guy out of the shachor. A moment. To come back, to distract them, to let him believe that everything is okay. That minute he pulls himself back together, brings back his composure. That's the moment he reconnects with Hashem. Hashem, you're still there. You're with me. And at that moment, he can go back and fix his problem. And that's when he finds the real wallet. Because without that, the wallet could be staring him in the face, he wouldn't see it. The Yeshua could be staring the guy in the face, he won't see it. And he'll throw in the towel. It's an amazing idea, this concept. Let me get through today. Let me distract myself for a moment. Let me hold on. Let me reboot myself, my system, find a moment of calm so I can reconnect, so that I'll continue to hold on to Borei Olam, because he's my only shot at getting out of this. I told you that this class is either going to be a bomb or it's going to be a bomb. I don't know which way this is going. But this is definitely not a typical topic, and this is definitely not something we ever gave before. You might have heard from the great Rav Aaron Mibelz. He was the Admor of Belz at the time of the Holocaust. The Nazis were after him. You guys don't know this. The Nazis had certain squads that their whole job was just to track down rabbis. The Nazis knew that Klal Yisrael, their strength, came from their leadership, from the Rabbanim, from the Admorim, from the Tzaddikim, and they had a list. They knew who was the biggest Rebbes, Rabbanim, Tzaddikim, Admorim, Talmidei Chachamim. They always rounded up the rabbis first, got rid of them. And now, it's a herd without a shepherd. The people were lost. And at that point, they couldn't even fight back. They just followed, they had no direction. Rabbi Aaron Mibelz was one of them that they were looking for. They wanted Rabbi Aaron Mibelz they had search parties and squads going all over Berlin, going all over Europe looking for him. He was a prize to them because he was very strong against the Nazis. Many mices were Rabbi Aaron Mibelz. Famous mice that he was in the building right across the street from Hitler Yamach Shemo's headquarters. I used to stare him down. So So Aaron Rebels was running away from the Nazis in World War II. And he did the unthinkable. Rabotai, I beg of you, if anyone out there is a Belzer Chassid, and you hear the story I'm about to say now, don't shoot the messenger. I beg of you. I'm telling it to you over the way my Rebbe, Reb Meir Shalom Rabinovich Shalita, told it to me today. He told me Reb Aaron Belzer had to do the unthinkable. He was the Admor of Belz. He shaved off his beard completely. And after he shaved off his beard, he took off his yarmulke and shaved off his peot. It's the Belzer Rebbe. And he put on clothing that did not look like Jewish clothing. Him and his Bnei Mishpacha all did the same. They had a driver in a car that was driving them through the back roads, through the forests, running away from the Nazis in hot pursuit. And they were in contact with other groups, other partition groups, groups that were fighting the Nazis in different parts of the country, and they would give them information. They're coming from this side, and they're coming from here, and they're trying to ambush you here. And they gave them the information so they'd be constantly on the run to save themselves. One time, they were driving down some back road in a forest, and they just got information that the Nazis found out which car they were driving and where they were going. And now they were in hot pursuit. Now they knew mamish where they were and where they were driving, and they had to get out of there as quick as possible. So the driver was driving at top speed. Who knows who's going to be behind them any moment? And Reb Aaron Belzer screams to the driver, "Stop! Stop! Stop the car right now! Stop!" Reb Aaron, they're in hot pursuit. Any minute they can jump, they can come any minute. They heard, did you hear the information? They're after us. He said, "Stop right now, right now." The Rebbe said, he's still the Admor. The Rebbe said, Rabbi Aaron Belz, Sadik Ador. He stopped the car. Rabbi Aaron gets out. He walks out to the Geder. He sits on top of the Geder. And he sits there with his eyes closed for a few minutes. He gets off the Geder, comes back into the car, and he says, "Schnell! Drive! Quick! Go!" Everybody's looking at each other. What in the world is going on? What is he thinking? But he's the Admor, he's the Rebbe. No one says a word. No one dare open their mouth to Rabbi Aaron Belz. But they were thinking, what was he doing? They drove off. They got out of there just from the information. Hashgacha, of course, Borei Olam. Just in the nick of time. They slipped right through the Nazis' hold at the last moment. And they were saved. They were saved. Rabbi Aaron Belz survived the Holocaust with these Bnei Mishpacha that was with him, flying and driving around, slipping the Nazis, and he makes it to Eretz Yisrael. Barmi Belz, he makes it to Eretz Yisrael. Unbelievable. When he comes to Eretz Yisrael, after the war, nobody asked him, what happened that day? And he didn't tell anyone. For years, he didn't say a word about this Maisa. The Biana Rebbe, the great Biana Rebbe, also survived. And he instead went to America after the Holocaust, settled in the Lower East Side. But there was one point that the Biana Rebbe comes to Eretz Yisrael and he visits Reb Aaron Belz. And when he comes into Reb Aaron Belz, Reb Aaron tells him, "Heilige Biana Rebbe, I have hakarat tov. I have hakarat tov to you, because the father of my grandfather was the receiver of a great favor from the father of your grandfather. The father of your grandfather, your Elter Lezeda, did a big favor for my Elter Lezeda, for the father of my grandfather. So I owe you. I owe you hakarat tov." So in order to give you that hakarat hatov, I have nothing else to give you. What am I going to give you? What am I going to give you? So in order to give you hakarat hatov, I'm going to give you a secret. And this is a matuna. This is a present. A secret. A secret that nobody knows except what I'm going to tell you now. And he tells him the story when he was in the car with his family, driving through the forest in the Holocaust. And the Nazis were on their tail. Hot pursuit. And he told the driver, the Bnei Mishpacha, he told them, pull over, stop. And they thought he was crazy. And he went out and he sat on the ged there and he came back in. He says, till this day, no one had the chutzpah to ask me, and I never told anyone what happened at that moment. It looked like it was the opposite of all logic. Belzer Rebbe, I'm going to tell you now what happened. I'm giving you a matana of what happened that day. Here's my hakarat hatov. He said to him, guys, listen to this. It's unbelievable. He said to him, he says, when they got the news that the Nazis were onto them, found out what car they were driving, found out where they were at, and what direction they were going, everybody in the car panicked. He says, even I panicked. He says, I panicked, mamish, like everyone else when we heard that moment, the news. I mamish started to shake. I started to tzither. I started to shake when everybody was shaking in fear. Then I said, wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. No. Oh, no. I screamed to the driver, stop the car right now! Right now, stop the car! I'm not going to let this get me. I'm not going to let this get me. I'm in the hands of the Eibishter. I'm going to give you a dayim shalabah. I'm in the hands of the Eibishter. I'm not going to let this work up inside of me, drive me to literally lose my focus, my mind, lose the shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. I'm not going to let go of the hand of Borei Olam when He's the only one that can save me. I told the driver, right now, stop, right now, let me out. Yeah, I know that, I know they're chasing us, but this is more important, because I cannot let go of the hand of Borei Olam. I let go of the hand of Borei Olam, I'm finished. We're all finished. That was the pikuach nefesh, more than the Nazis in pursuit. Rabbi Belz jumps out of the car. On a board, unconpayas, nothing, not even a yarmulke. But he's holding Hashem's hand with 2 hands. I'm not going to let this fall me apart. I'm not going to let this break me or shake me. I'm holding Yadayim Shel Abba. What does he do? He walks to the side, sits on the ged there, and refocuses. Gets his composure back. Tells himself, En od milvado. He doesn't say that, I'm just saying it, but you can imagine what I'm saying. He tells himself, En od milvado. En od milvado. This is not going to get the better of me. I'm not going to lose myself on this. I'm going to hold my composure. I'm going to hold my rikuz. I'm going to hold Hashem's hand and not let go. He says, the moment I got back, okay. Back into the car. Go ahead. Now you can drive. Ay. Unbelievable. This is big people. Big people. They were able to keep their focus. They were able to keep somehow or other their composure, even in moments where on the inside normally anyone would fall apart. But this is something of Gadlut. This is something really where I don't know what to tell you. To be able to regain your composure, to reconnect even for a moment, because that reconnection with Borei Olam at the moment of that difficulty is what's going to get you out. If you lose yourself, who's going to pull you out of this? I know it's easier said than done, believe me. Believe me, I myself am dealing with stuff. And I know that this can literally shake you from your toes to chattering your teeth to putting a head on a pillow at night and seeing no sleep. I know. I know what the concept of pachad is. I know what the concept of nisyonot, believe me, Rabotai. But to find within those moments, Abba, and try to keep the composure and hold and say, I need to make it to the end of the day. Abba, I'm holding on to your hand. And I'm going to take another step with you. And tomorrow I'm going to take another step with you. And I'm not letting go with you, even though things look bleak. And even though things look really not good. But nonetheless, I am going to keep my composure and hold with you. I'm going to keep the calm, because that's my only way out. With the calm, I can stay holding your hand. I can stay connected to you. And that's my only shot. Avraham Avinu, guys, comes home to Sarah Imenu dead. He went through Akedah Yitzchak. He went through a Lech Lecha. He went through Ur Kasdim. He jumped into a fire. Al Yedei Kiddush Hashem. Avraham Avinu, as he was going Akedah, the waters came up to his nose. The Yetzer Hara tried to drown him. What didn't he go through? He finally passed all these amazing tests to come home to a dead wife. The one that was standing with him all the way through. Says Avraham Avinu, Gewalt. V'liv kota, with a small chaf. He cried. But Avraham Avinu showed us the gadlut ha'adam, that after all that, he held his composure. This is from Hashem. I hear the sirens. I hear the sirens. I hear the bells. I hear the fire alarm. I hear it. I hear it all around me. But the only way out is Abba. And I'm not going to let go of you, not even in such a moment. And that was the 10th and most difficult test of Avraham Avinu. The test of Gadlut Ha'adam. This was even greater than the first 9. Can you, under duress, hold on to your belief? Under duress. Can you, under the strain and the pain of the moments of tragedy where on the inside, mamish, it feels like your life is falling to pieces, and still keep your composure, and still hold on to Borei Olam, and not let go, knowing that that's the only thing that can get you out? You know what I found over the years? I found over the years that the secret to try to aspire to such madregot, I believe, like we see now in Avraham Avinu, like we saw by the Belzer Rebbe, like we saw by Rabbi Avraham Abish, who went and did the sketch to give him that money bag, just to snap him out of his black hole so that he could refocus. Because the moment you refocus, you see Hashem. And the moment you see Hashem, you see the Yeshua right in front of you. He found the wallet after that in a minute. What he couldn't find in a week, he found in a moment. Because he was snapped out of the black hole. He's able to see again. He's able to focus again. He was able to hold Abba again. Once you reconnect to Abba, everything will be able to work. Otherwise, we have no shot. To me, Kriya Yam Suf was that moment. Every challenge in life is Kriya Yam Suf. Behind you, you have Paro and an army screaming and yelling that they're coming to kill you. You have people chasing you in life, and they're coming to kill you. And those people could be 1 million people at different times in life. Lo aleinu, lo alechem. It could be, God forbid, the IRS. It could be, I don't want to say, it could be all different types. It could be Rishaim, it could be Mafia, it could be your own friends. It could be people who turned against you in life. It could be family. It could be anyone that's coming to be Rodef. And your world is black. And you're falling apart. And all you hear behind you are the thundering of the horses. Day and night. Day and night. You hear it. It's like any minute the phone is going to ring. And you're going to get that call that's going to end everything. And every time your phone rings, you sit there, you start to say Tehillim, because you don't know what the next phone call is going to be. It's as if you're waiting for the shoe to drop. You should never know from these feelings. How do you survive? How do you not let go of Abba's hand at that moment? Although you know He's the only one that can save you. But how do you keep the composure? How do you keep the focus? How do you not let go? How do you go and live kota with a small chaf instead of losing yourself? How do you do it? Aaron Belz, the Nazis were chasing him and he stops the car. He gets out to sit and refocus. To find Borei Olam again in the moment of darkness so that he'll have a shot at making out of this. His only way is only Yeshua, his only saving grace. How do you do that? I think. We should never know. But I think the how is in the secret of Kriya Yam Suf. I think. Because the famous Belzer Rebbe asked this question, that in the Torah, when every time it talks about the splitting of the sea, it always says the word biki'ah. Vayibak'u hamayim. Hamayim nivke'u. The pasuk always talks about biki'ah. Biki'ah means to break open. And yet we don't call it Biki'at Yam Suf. We call it Kriya Yam Suf. Ask the Rebbe. I mean, why do we call it Kriya Yam Suf? We should call it Bikiya Yam Suf. So asked the Belzer Rebbe, Zechet Tzadik L'Bracha. And the answer is that when Nachshon jumped in, he did the Bikiya. He broke the sea open. But then Klal Yisrael entered, and we started to take steps of emunah and bitachon. And every step we took, the sea ripped open another little bit. And we took another step, another little bit. And we took another step, another little bit. And we took another step, another little bit. We, Klal Yisrael, with our steps of emunah and bitachon, were koreya the yam. We ripped, we kind of, you know how you rip a paper, kacha like this? We ripped the sea open. The Torah talks about biki'ah. But Klal Yisrael was Kriyat Yam Suf. We were in a matziv where Paro was about to come and kill us. The pressure was on. The lachatz was up to here. We were about to fall in this situation. Hamibli en kivarim b'Mitzrayim. We were panicking. We were in panic mode to the top level. And even so, we were able to hold our composure in the Yam to take another step and another step and another step and go weiter with our emunah and bitachon in spite of all the fantastic stress and lahatz and pressure of the moment. That's able to be Korea the Yam, one step at a time, one day at a time. Says Avraham Avinu, the 10th and the greatest of all tests. A Jew has to remember, you can cry, but beliv kota. Don't let go of Abba. Keep your focus, your composure, even in those moments, because that's the only way out. Thank you for listening.